Hello, Angela Anaconda fans. If you haven't seen my other video, I'm Amazon Kane. This is Chee. He was a prop designer on Angela Anaconda. And here, I've collected a few of the best fan questions, the ones that were the most relevant. So, a couple of those. This one, I'll start with this one. This is from a couple different fans since Angela Anaconda in recent years has gotten a backlash online. How do you feel about that?
I think we mentioned it off air.
Yeah, we did.
Like the backlash is only about the art style, I think.
Pretty much. That is the main one.
Yeah, I think when people come into a show and the first thing they see, it takes them a second to, it knocks them back a bit, right?
Right.
So it takes them aback. I think that what stopped people from getting into the show. So that's the backlash. Oh, it's so creepy looking.
That's really what it was. People, which I personally always loved the art style, even as a little kid.
It doesn't. Yeah, it looks great. And I rewatched some of the episodes just a couple nights ago and leading up to this. Angela's so cute.
I think so too.
Her face,
I looked just like that as a kid. She's on my shirt.
Yeah, like some of the facial expressions that she did.
She's got great reactions. And Annette's design is amazing because everything about that design tells you who that is. Especially there's so many blonde girl characters out there, but that one feels like, there's a reason that she looks like this. She looks like a porcelain doll, which tells you that she's a fake person. I love it.
Yeah, and so I mean, I think that the backlash is just the art stuff, but once you get into it, and if anybody had but as people in general, I'll just take it back. People in general were very visual oriented, right? So that's the first thing you have to get to people, whether it's a good story or not, whether you read a comic or a graphic novel you pick up, like you're going to be attracted by the cover, the art style inside, and then you're going to get into the story and discover what's in there. So that as the first introduction, that's the backlash. But yeah, there's great stuff. I mean, as we're saying, I was watching some of the facial expressions, and like Angela's amazing. She's always on the cusp of saying the F word, or just like she's got her mouth pursed, and that's from the animators, right? Like just
I love that.
Filling that in. She's like, just on the cusp of like she's zipping her lip and doesn't want to swear.
That's funny. That's how I've interpreted the character too, as somebody who would definitely be swearing.
Yeah, for sure.
She's got some really funny jokes in there too. And what I love is a lot of little girls look like that, but you never see that on TV.
Yeah, I read something the other day too that like her best friend Gina Lash was a chubby girl, and that wasn't something that was normal to show in cartoons on, I don't know, back then.
I'm trying to think.
Or even maybe now. Now it's probably better.
I'm trying to think, actually. Chubby girl characters, Codename Kids Next Door.
Who aren't villains, who aren't bad people or sad sacks or.
Good point.
And she's smart, she's brainy. So all those type of things, those qualities.
Gina Lash is still a walking fat girl stereotype, though.
Okay.
She's not a good
friend. Oh, okay.
Sorry. But that's not you. But that's. The only one I can think of is Codename Kids Next Door, Lizzie Devine, and even then, she's not a villain, but she is still a jerk.
Yeah.
That show was probably an early one. Oh god, now I'm trying to think about that. Anyways, and changing the subject. This one, a couple different questions. I put them into one. It's from Brian Nussbaum. Do you have a favorite character revenge fantasy episode that you worked on?
That I personally worked on? Yeah. And I'll keep bringing it back. It's the Angela Battle Head. That was the name of the prop, or the?
Oh, that's what it was called.
Well, I mean that was the prop.
Nanette Death Star.
Nanette Death Star. So, yeah, that was a favorite. I mean, when you're a prop designer, sometimes you just get a broom as your assignment, right? Which is fun. It's easy to do. You have to do a broom. You have to do a feather duster. You have to do a tin cup. You have to do a wooden bucket. Right, with different layers on it, whatever, and moving handles, whatever, simple stuff. But then those are everyday items, and then when you get to do something like Nanette Death Star,
the revenge fantasies always had something crazy.
Yeah, and it was awesome. And I remember like taking that and just looking at aluminum textures, right? That had to.
Oh, that's right.
So I had to do, and just warping them in Photoshop and like manipulating them and in between painting textures in there, and so just making this shape and making it move, making her mouth open with the spaceships could come out. So it's just a fun little thing when you get those assignments.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that must have been a lot of fun, especially because every episode there was something different.
Yeah, Yeah.
And this one is from Chris. What's your creative process like when working on the show, and honest thoughts about the finished product?
Yeah, okay, so process-wise, what would happen is we would read the board, we'd get the storyboard. They were done at a house, freelance, so we didn't have in-house storyboard artists for that.
Interesting, okay.
Yeah, I think they worked through Decode Entertainment, who hired them, and so Core was a art and animation end of Angela. So we'd sit down, read the storyboards, and then we would also get a list called a fun pack.
Okay.
So a character designer would get their fun pack, and they design this character with this side, front, back view, and so there's so you get that kind of breakdown. Backgrounds would get their fun pack with this set with this object required.
And since this show used face models, it must be different from a 2D show or a 3D show because it has such a unique animation style to it.
Yeah, for in the sense that for character design, you mean for
prop design, a lot of it was photos.
Yeah, right. So it's like photo manipulation, right? So we get the fun pack list from our production coordinator and break it down. So I would get like a fire truck or a broom or things like that. So finding reference then, right? So my next step would be to get reference either online or something like the fire truck. I took a hop out to the local fire station and just asked them if they could take photos of their fire truck, just to get reference. It's easy enough to get reference online, but just seeing something in person is you'll see items or design features that you might not have thought about.
Right. So
like the shape of a mirror or details of a mirror. Not that you have to put all that stuff in there, but it just informs your decision making when you're designing something and simplifying and breaking things down. So then so I get my list, I get my fire truck, and then I just have to go at it and pop it out in Photoshop. So open your file in Photoshop and like making, and just a lot of it was just painting as well as using reference, because you don't want to take from the internet and use it exactly, right? So you've got to just reference it or use parts of it, warp it, but make sure it's not a brand name or something that can be passed through legal
because of copyright.
Yeah. So and that was it. So and the style of the show too is very, it had a wonky look to it, warped sensibilities. So yeah, you could like just adjust things.
Were you using elastic reality, or was it mostly just Photoshop and Houdini?
For us as designers, we were just using Photoshop. Yeah, and then we would have to like just say, so I'll go back to the fire truck. So I would have to. So if the red fire truck, I had to put on a background similar red texture behind it with an alpha channel. I don't know if you know what that means in Photoshop.
I actually don't.
The alpha channel. So like you can look it up.
Okay, I'll Google it.
And then, but also then the builders would have to like cut out from the texture sheet the Photoshop file, so they could cut those pieces out, and so and then pass that on down the line to the builds and animation team. So yeah, and that was the process basically. And so, but something like I remember designing. I really enjoyed designing soapboxes. They had the soapbox race episode.
Oh, it's the go-kart one, right?
Go-karts, yeah. And so
can't remember the actual name of that episode.
Yeah. So that was done totally just from the referencing stuff from the internet, but then designing it myself, just like drawing it out, making a shape, painting it, adding stripes, painting my own logos to it, making a wheel in Photoshop is something just you make a circle, like put a gradient on it, and yeah, and so you're just painting stuff too as well, not just using photo reference and plopping it into the show. So and then doing front side views of that, and making them match up. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this one actually transitions nicely into the next question. Said Homestar Runnertron asked if there was a series Bible that you had access to, a big show Bible that tells you who the characters are, what their world is, and if so, was there anything unusual in it?
At the time that I came on for season 3, so stuff was already made in the library, just say for the show. I don't recall reading a show Bible, like a series Bible, as you would see in a lot of shows now. Yeah, it was a small production. We could like access previous work and watch episodes, or watch like like previous artwork created. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just because like I mentioned her to Angela to Alexandra.
We have the same face. It's okay.
To Alexandra that I never remembered watching episodes at the time, so I didn't have an online repository to watch our past episodes, but I could access the previous designs and things like that. So if we needed like a broom, I just check the library and see if there was one that I could reuse or change up for this episode. But I don't remember a series Bible per se with a character bio, things like that. It was just mainly just just going through previous boards and stuff like that to learn the show. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And this one is from Amy Redwood. Probably should have saved this one for last, but I'm going down the list. How much involvement did you have in the show, and what keeps your interest for the show going after all this time?
Cool.
By the way, paraphrased.
Yeah, that's great. What was my involvement? Yeah, just like part of, we had the 3 teams of 3. So prop designer, background designer, and character designer. And so we had our little hub, all 3 on the same open floor.
So the whole art department essentially could interact with each other.
Yeah, for sure. I could just walk over to my friend Paul and say, "Hey, you did this thing back in this episode. I can't seem to find it," or whatever. Yeah. So we were there. It was a great bunch, super friendly. The whole studio core was like that. You could get up and talk to anybody, walk around. It was a great family at that time. So my involvement of it. So yeah, just mentioning again, like just getting through the boards and being part of the art team and just creating the assets basically for it. Interest for the show? I mean, I liked it back then. Like when you like something, it doesn't like usually. Hopefully, when it's good, hindsight, it doesn't diminish it. You know, you knew it was good back then. It's still good, and it's part of your childhood, or it's part of your life, and it sticks with you, right? Because of what it was at the time. And it's still a good show. I rewatched some of the episodes last night, and they're fun, and they're super fun, and it made me laugh. And just seeing all the amazing animation, like, because I never. Now I was like, as getting older and like working on different productions, like I started Angela when I was young in my career, so now seeing what animation teams do and things like that, and so seeing what I was doing as props and not seeing the finished product unless it was on TV and like super analyzing, scrutinizing. But now,
before the days of DVDs, before the days of internet,
I had to like if I was at home the time that it was on, then I could catch it. Otherwise, I would never watch the show.
Before TiVo, you had to record something physically on a tape if you had to.
Yeah, and then but now seeing it again, and I have more appreciation now even to seeing where the animation went for it, because I knew the animators obviously working on it as well, but just watching some of the nuances in the faces and that the animators added to the characters, to Johnny, to Angela, it's great. Like that's it, when you see something and you see something new on repeated watches, that's always a great thing. So I mean, the same thing with film too. So you could watch a film that you like over and over again, you'll see something new that you didn't see the first 6 times. So the same thing with Angela, watching it again, it's great. Yeah.
So I fell in love with it 3 different times. Once when I was a little kid, once in high school, and then once last year when I really got back into the show and got obsessed with it. I always liked that. Well, I always loved the photographic look. I loved the old yearbook look. I always loved yearbooks and photography. Yeah. But as a character, I wasn't thinking about, does this character look like me as a kid? I always liked that she was allowed to get angry and she was allowed to fully express that, as crazy and weird and violent as that was. That was cathartic. Yeah. Someone who wasn't allowed to express anger, even when I was right, that was very cathartic. Still very much is. Plus the show's hilarious.
It still holds up. The writing is great. Yeah. Voice acting is great. The characters are lovable. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said that you were a fan of Ruby Smith-Murvitz's work.
Oh yeah, for Voice of Nanette. Yeah, she's great.
Were you listening to the voices when doing the props?
No. See, at that time, no. For the art department, you don't get that. I could imagine the board artists might had a chance to do that. Like nowadays, what I do in my current job, we have the audio track of the voice actors.
Okay.
Back And then I started doing boards after Angela, my contract was done, and I didn't have the voices for the shows that I was working on. It was just, you get your script and you board to the script on pencil back then even. So
that's
on
right.
paper.
Everything's on computers now.
Yeah, and we had to like cut out and photocopy to make revisions, photocopy your page, cut out that panel, tape it back into this spot.
Whoa.
And send it through again. But anyways, that's storyboarding. This is Angela props. But yeah, so I don't think I never heard the voices, the audio tracks for the episodes at that time. No.
Wow. Oh man, it's fascinating how the process has changed over the years.
Yeah. And it's pretty involved, yeah.
Oh yes. Last question, this is from Drew at 1. If given the chance, how would you reboot the characters artistically? Would you use CGI or a different medium?
Good question. I don't know. I don't think I would go CGI. I think that's the charm, right? That's the appeal of Angela, right? It was that look, like that cut out black and white look of it. I mean, yeah.
Because it had such a unique process.
Yeah.
Boarded like a 2D show, but animated like a 3D show.
Well, animated in 3D software, but still like kind of like side to side 2D animation, right? Like characters like walking this way, or like a character when they're talking. So the difference in 2D and 3D is like in 3D you'll have like over the shoulders, like in film, right? So somebody's talking and this person's foreground, this person's talking, you'll flip the other side over the shoulder here, and this person's talking. But in 2D animation, it's me and you talking like this, side to side, right? But we won't move our faces side to side.
No.
Sometimes maybe 3/4 or front face, and just like move our eyes.
Right, eyes, because they had a couple different angles. There was 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, they did do 3/4 and sides, I think, but mainly front and 3/4. Yeah, rarely you saw back views, I think.
You did.
But yeah.
Because they'd be walking. There were back views.
Yeah. But yeah, not as much as the front faces and things like everything that we register as. But yeah, so you could do a CGI show of it, but then you're getting to the language of like, then you're gonna do those over the shoulder shots, you know, these like crazy cameras and film language stuff, which is fine. But a show like Angela, I don't know. I don't think it needs it. I think 2D would be great again.
Perfect. Hey, again, thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for answering all our questions.
No problem. It's been fun.
As she says, see you when you see me.